SHEDEUR Sanders draft lies exposed by DEION Sanders Jr. When the whispers started, they spread faster than wildfire through the corridors of NFL media. Rumors of SHEDEUR Sanders draft guarantees, team preferences, and unseen controversies began to fill the feeds, sparking debate across sports talk shows and fan forums. But when DEION Sanders Jr., the older brother and often the most vocal defender of the Sanders family, decided to speak, the conversation shifted dramatically. What began as vague speculation about SHEDEUR's draft stock transformed into a public reckoning over truth, loyalty, and how narratives around young athletes are shaped and sold. For weeks, insiders claimed that SHEDEUR Sanders, Colorado's charismatic quarterback and the son of NFL legend DEION coach Prime Sanders, was manipulating his draft journey. The stories alleged that SHEDEUR was ducking certain franchises, demanding specific guarantees, or even inflating his market through orchestrated leaks. But according to DEION Sanders Jr., those reports weren't just misleading, they were deliberate lies. A brother's breaking point. It wasn't the first time DEION Sanders Jr. had taken to social media to defend his family. Known for his creative work behind the scenes of Well-Off Media, the YouTube platform that documents the Colorado Buffalo's every move, Jr. has been both the chronicler and protector of his family's legacy. But this time felt different. In a late-night post, DEION Jr. called out what he described as manufactured drama surrounding his younger brother's NFL draft journey. "Y'all keep running with these fake narratives about my brother like you know what's going on behind the scenes," he wrote. "Most of these so-called reports are lies. Straight-up lies." That message hit hard across football media. Within hours, fans, journalists, and even NFL scouts were dissecting his words. Had the media gone too far? Were the Sanders brothers finally drawing a line between speculation and smear? What became clear was this. The Sanders family had decided not to let anyone else control the narrative anymore. The making of a media storm. SHEDEUR Sanders had been one of the most polarizing figures in college football long before draft season began. At Colorado, under the watchful eye of his father, he turned a once struggling Buffalo's program into a national conversation piece. His numbers were elite. He threw for over 3,200 yards with precision, poise, and a leadership style that carried echoes of NFL readiness. But his confidence, swagger, and public persona drew mixed reactions. While some praised his maturity and professionalism, others accused him of being too Hollywood. Every watch, every car, every Instagram post became ammunition for critics who questioned whether he was more interested in fame than football. So when draft season arrived, it was only a matter of time before the noise followed him. Anonymous sources claimed SHEDEUR was refusing to meet with certain teams. Others suggested he was demanding first-round treatment regardless of his projection. Some even argued that his nil success made him entitled. And yet, through it all, SHEDEUR stayed quiet, until his brother spoke for him. DEION Jr.'s revelation. The lies behind the hype. DEION Sanders Jr. didn't mince words when he went live on Well-Off Media. Sitting in front of a Colorado backdrop, he addressed the speculation with the same intensity his father once showed on the field. "Let me make something clear," he began. "SHEDEUR doesn't need to beg anyone for attention. He's earned his spot through what he's done on that field. Every throw, every hit he's taken, every comeback he's led, it's all documented. But some of y'all don't want that story. You want drama." Then came the line that froze the internet. Half of the stories about SHEDEUR's draft preferences were planted. Not by us, by people trying to control the market. The clip went viral instantly. Fans began connecting dots. Was DEION Jr. hinting at NFL insiders pushing false narratives to affect team negotiations or draft positioning? Was the Sanders brand being targeted because of its visibility and independence? DEION Jr. didn't name names, but his implication was loud and clear. Some of the biggest voices in sports media were distorting the truth for clicks and control. Coach Prime's silent support. While Deion Jr. was vocal, Coach Prime stayed characteristically calm. During an interview following Colorado's spring session, he was asked directly about his eldest son's claims. "I'm proud of my kids," Deion said with a smile. "They tell the truth. I raised them to speak up when something ain't right. We don't play games. We don't spread lies. We just handle our business." That was all he said, but it was enough. His measured tone carried a weight that suggested quiet agreement. Deion had seen media storms before. As an NFL legend who lived through decades of scrutiny, he knew exactly how stories could be twisted. But seeing his sons navigate that world as adults had given the entire family a new mission: to expose the manipulation that too often hides behind sources. Behind the curtain, the business of draft narratives. NFL draft season is more than a sporting event. It's a billion-dollar industry built on speculation. Agents, scouts, and media outlets all jockey for leverage. The line between reporting and marketing often blurs. For a player like SHEDEUR Sanders, whose fame transcends football, the stakes are even higher. When you're not tied to traditional power brokers, agents, insiders, or PR teams, you become a threat, explained an unnamed scout in an ESPN follow-up. The Sanders family controls their own story. That scares people. According to several insiders, false reports about player attitudes or team preferences are often used to manipulate draft boards. By suggesting a player might refuse to play for certain teams, rival franchises can quietly drive down his value and scoop him up at a lower draft position. If Deion Jr.'s claims are accurate, SHEDEUR may have been one of those victims, a player caught in the political chess match that defines the NFL's pre-draft chaos. Social media power versus traditional media. The tension between the Sanders family and traditional sports media isn't new. Through well-off media, Deion Jr. and his brother DeAndre have built a storytelling platform that bypasses the usual gatekeepers. Fans don't have to rely on ESPN or NFL Network for updates. They can hear directly from the family. This independence has given them power, but it's also drawn resentment. Some journalists view it as arrogance. Others see it as the future. SHEDEUR and his family are redefining athlete control, said sports analyst Jason Whitfield. They're not waiting for validation from institutions. They're creating their own. That's threatening to a system built on access and exclusivity. When Deion Jr. exposed what he called draft lies, he wasn't just defending his brother. He was challenging the structure that profits from misinformation. The human side: pressure, pride, and brotherhood. Beyond the business, the story is deeply personal. Deion Jr. has long been more than a brother to SHEDEUR. He's been a mentor, a videographer, a brand architect, and a protector. Their bond has carried through every major stage of their father's career, from Jackson State to Colorado. SHEDEUR's focus has always been football, Deion Jr. said in one clip. He wakes up thinking about it. He goes to sleep thinking about it. The rest of this stuff, that's just noise. For SHEDEUR, that noise became an unavoidable part of his identity. Every success drew critics who claimed it was handed to him by his father's fame. Every loss turned into a referendum on whether he was really that guy. But what makes the Sanders story so compelling is that it's never been about just one man. It's about a family legacy being rewritten in real time. A legacy of defiance. Deion Sanders built his name by doing things his own way. Whether it was playing two sports at once or bringing fashion and swagger to the field, primetime never fit inside anyone's box. Now, his sons are following suit, but in the age of digital media and public opinion warfare. When Deion Jr. stood up and called out the draft lies, it wasn't just a defense of SHEDEUR. It was a declaration of independence from a system that still treats players as commodities rather than individuals. People forget we're human, Deion Jr. said. We're not characters in your sports drama. We're a family that's worked for everything we've got. The fallout, media scramble, and fan reactions. After DEION Jr.'s comments, several outlets scrambled to clarify their reporting. Some claimed they'd been misinterpreted. Others quietly deleted tweets. But fans weren't fooled. Online, hashtags like #SHEDEURTruth and #PrimeFamily began trending. Supporters flooded the comments on well-off media's posts, praising the family for their transparency. Even rival players chimed in, saying they admired how the Sanders brothers handled the spotlight. "SHEDEUR just plays ball. The rest is noise," one NFL prospect wrote on X. Media be making stories out of thin air. Still, some critics doubled down, arguing that the Sanders family was too sensitive or too controlling. But that only fueled the larger debate about power dynamics in modern sports storytelling.